experttrainer.com. For complete Oracle SQL training, please visit experttrainer.com. For just $25, you can download all Oracle SQL training videos in WMV format, which can be played using Windows Media Player. Subscription is valid for 6 months. First, CORD wanted to reduce the footprints of the data, therefore reducing the amount of space on those big tapes that each database record required. And so hopefully we reduce how expensive data was to store back then. And he also wanted to enforce data integrity. These are the first two things he wanted to do, to reduce space occupied by the data and to maintain data integrity. Now data integrity takes several forms, but we are basically referring to the accuracy and the correctness of the data. Data integrity means accuracy, maintaining accuracy and correctness of the data that we are storing. So he wanted to reduce the space occupied by the data and also maintain the accuracy and correctness of the data. To accomplish this, CORD suggested that if you break up one long row of data fields into several smaller records, each record being saved into a table. So we break data fields. As we talked before, we broke customers in customers and order record into separately into customers table and orders table. So he said if we do that, you can improve the integrity of the data. For example, like we talked about, instead of storing customer data and order data for each order placed by the customer data will be stored separately in customer table and order data will be stored in an order table. This reduces redundancy in the customer table, since we don't need to add a customer data whenever we don't need to add customers data to the customer's table when the customer already exists. So when he comes in and buys a product again from our store, we don't need to add his information or her information all over again. We just refer to the corresponding row in the customer table when that customer places an order. He also suggested that you define what type of data you wanted to store in a particular field. That would prevent scenarios where you had string or character in a field that should only be storing numeric values. For example, the order data has a field called cost. So every product sold by your store has a cost associated with it. So the cost data or the order data has a field called cost, and this should just store number values. A cost ABC does not mean anything. It has to be a number value. But if you use an Excel sheet and define a column to store cost, Excel does not restrict the user from entering text into the cost column. But you define cost column in a relational database as a number data type. It will restrict the user from entering character values into this field. So by enforcing strong data type maintains the integrity of the data. You'll understand more when we discuss about column data types. Oracle is a relational database, meaning that you can get advantages of the relational databases and more, leading to saving and retrieving cleaner data. Now, if some of that did not make sense, don't worry. In the next several lessons, we are going to cover enough examples that some of this theory will become very obvious to you. Table, column, and row. As mentioned before, data in a relational database is stored in multiple tables. So customers information into customers table and order information or product information into products table or orders table. Each of these tables contains several rows, and each of these rows will contain several columns, which are also referred to as fields. For example, if you look at this diagram, the structure, this entire structure that stores customer data is called a table. This table contains several rows of customer data, one row per each customer. So row 1 is John with a phone number and a city. Row 2 is David with a phone number and city. Row 3 is Kathy with a phone number and a city. So each of these rows represents a separate customer, and each of these rows contains several columns. So column 1 is name, column 2 is phone number, and column 3 is city. So each of these rows will have a name, phone number, and a city. So the vertical things are called columns and the horizontal ones are rows. This is a logical representation of data in a relational database. The RDBMS can store data physically in any form. We don't care about it. But what we care is the logical representation, and every RDBMS will logically store data in a table with rows and columns.